let's go. Yeah, I dip my feet in it, I sell high and I buy low. More technical than a TA, that's basics, ask Maslow. If I get stochastic, I'm a sip scotch in Glasgow. Need a pro robe in crypto, we don't catch L's, it's a no-no. Yeah, now that I know I'ma get it, yeah. Hit the subscribe and we gritty, yeah. I check my view on a daily.
Did you know that in 1986, computer fraud law, it was one of the first acts, and it was focused on hacking. Now, this was the first introduction that crimes can happen. So in 1986, the courts of the United States decided to pass laws that said we need to now start to hold people accountable for what they do online. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. The point of that law was that as technology advances, the use in criminal law to regulate the conduct using such technology, you have to continue to grow. Perceptions concerning the role of technology in high-tech criminal context was something that Congress looked at. So they enacted this first law. 1996, President at the time, Bill Clinton, Democratic president at the time, was in office when this occurred. The 1996 Prevention of Child Pornography. Do I have your attention now? So we're already start talking about child pornography, and we have now acknowledged that we realize that crime can happen because in 1986, we found out that 10 years prior to that the Congress, our United States government says we're going to create laws against internet crime. In 1996, 10 years later, this Child Pornography Act went in place. And let's see what happened with this law. Any book, magazine, periodical, film, videotape, computer disc, and material. Now, if you have 3 or more images, then that would enhance the penalty. So let's talk about this. Now you have a law that went in place 10 years after the first internet law came in place in 1986 that has child sexual abuse materials, images. Now, did you know this though? In 2002, President Bush, who was in office, a Republican president at the time, this is right after President Clinton left office, the Supreme Court during this time frame changed that law from 1996 about virtual child pornography. And this is what happened. The Supreme Court struck down a ban on virtual child pornography. In a case that addressed most fundamental issues of technology and morality, the United States Supreme Court ruled today that Congress went too far in 1996 when it passed the law that treats virtual or computer-generated child pornography as the real thing. The court held 6-3 that Child Pornography Prevention Act of 1996 is overly broad and unconstitutional, despite its supporters' arguments that computer-generated smut depicting children could stimulate pedophiles to molest youngsters. This is what the Supreme Court says. The sexual abuse of a child is the most serious crime and an act repugnant in the moral instincts of decent people. Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote in a majority decision. Nevertheless, though, he said in 1996, the law were allowed to stand, the Constitution's First Amendment rights would be upside down and turned. Do you hear what I just said? In 1996, the laws against virtual child pornography, if the images were not of real children, animated, was considered unconstitutional, which was passed in 1996. The revision under the president at the time, President Bush in 2002, said that the Supreme Court said if you can have virtual images of a child and they're not real, they're animated, then it's a breach of your First Amendment rights and it's not considered illegal. Now, here's the problem. What does that have to do with the metaverse? and where we're at with technology. Check this out. So after the Supreme Court strikes us down, this is what happened. When we talk about images of children, this is an animated image. See, the courts were saying that this type of image, since there's now a real child involved, is considered okay under First Amendment rights. Even if you think it's repugnant, they can do whatever they want to with those pictures. That's the state of technology. Now, if someone had this, a real child, a picture such as this, then this is illegal because this is a real child and a real child was hurt. So if it was child sexual abuse material, then this would be wrong, illegal. Now stay with me. Let's get this to the metaverse. So if you have this, and this was child sexual abuse material, this is not illegal. But if you have this, this is illegal. This would be illegal. This child. Now let me ask you a question. Would this be illegal? Based on what you just read, the current law from 2002 stated that in the technology space, remember we're talking about the virtual world, that if you have a real image of a child, that is considered illegal if it's illicit sexual material of a child, no matter what form it's in, book, film, virtual, it doesn't matter. But if you have a fake image, an animated image, then that is considered legal and a violation of your First Amendment rights to have it, no matter what it looks like, no matter how repugnant it is. Here's the problem. Look at this image. This is not a real image. This is a fake computer, artificially created image with using artificial intelligence. What about this one? Nice little girl. Not a real image. This is a fake artificial intelligence created image of a girl. Legal. So imagine that. What about this? You guessed it. This is a fake artificial intelligence created picture. Legal under the current laws with technology. So what they're saying is, if you have this, the first one, it's not real. If you have the second one, it's not real. Or if you have the third one, it's not real. The laws at the time in which this was put in place in 1996 was talking about the first picture. That's what was the court's intent. Look at that animated picture. The technology moved very quickly to look like the middle picture, a 3D animation. And now the technology has moved to what we look at the very end. Look how photorealistic that image is. Totally legal. So if you're in the metaverse and you're exchanging these images, and imagine your child or someone else's child, then what they're saying is, first one, legal. The middle picture, illegal. And the last picture, legal. This is the state of our technology and the problem when the technology has moved faster than the laws. So as we look at the metaverse, we have to think about that. Now in 2011, then President Obama did something very interesting. New cybersecurity legislative proposal and other cybersecurity efforts, both in private sector and public sector. This is part of the reason why it's going to be so important for Congress to work with us and get an actual bill passed that allows for kind of information sharing we need. Because if we don't put in place the kind of architecture that can prevent these attacks from taking place, it's not just going to be affecting movies. This is going to be affecting our entire economy in ways that are extraordinarily significant. That said it all. The metaverse is a place that is a concept that is unfinished where crimes can currently be committed. And those crimes would normally be possibly prosecuted if you did it on your phone if you did it on an email. But with the metaverse, we have to think about the concept. If I talk to someone who's underage online currently right now on Web 2.0 that we're currently using, and I'm over the age of consent, they're under the age of consent, is that not illegal? Would you want that to happen? We don't want that to happen. So we got to stop putting the metaverse into this unique space in which nothing can go wrong. If it was wrong happening in the Web 2.0 and your email, it will be wrong happening in the metaverse. So it is very much possible that a person can be sexually assaulted in the metaverse if you believe that online harassment, online stalking is a crime. If you believe that, you don't have to touch the person to commit a crime. Just like I just showed you with the child example. If a person's over the age of consent and they contact someone who's under the age of consent right now in our current laws from 1996 on up, this would be child endangerment laws and other type of federal laws and state laws to prevent it. So why do we think that the metaverse isn't the same thing? Just because it's an avatar? This is the state that we're in now. The metaverse can violate you, your children, and how you have to be aware of what's going on. These laws matter. From Bush, Clinton, and Obama, 3 different eras and 3 dramatically different results based on who was in office and the Congress at the time and the Supreme Court. Laws matter. And we can't look away and say it's too complicated for me to understand. This is the state that we're in. The next time we talk, I'm going to be exploring other conversations that you need to think about as we move in our digital world. We're going to talk about the child endangerment aspect a little bit more in depth. We're going to talk about other things that you need to be concerned about and also aware of. You can't turn a blind eye. I hope you enjoy this content. Until next time, this has been your digital forensic scientist and researcher, the Underdog Research Channel.